Once, Earth was a thriving world. But this is not just a story of the past. It's a warning, a mirror, and maybe a second chance. Today, I'll tell you a tale of humanity's rise, its fall, and the fragile hope that still flickers in the ashes. And ashes of tomorrow. Once, Earth was a thriving world. Skyscrapers kissed the clouds, and the hum of machines echoed in every corner of human civilization. Technology advanced at breakneck speed. Humans had conquered disease, engineered intelligent machines, and even begun stepping beyond their solar system. Life was efficient, comfortable, brilliant. But behind the curtains of innovation, shadows grew longer. Wars never ceased. Borders were redrawn every decade. Weapons of mass destruction had become too common, and peace treaties were signed only to be broken in weeks. Children were born into nations that were already preparing them for the next inevitable war. Fear became a global language, and humanity was trapped in a never-ending loop of destruction and advancement. Despite technological marvels, people still lived in fear. Every newborn was handed not just a name, but a future shaped by conflict. Education became indoctrination. Schools trained children for defense. Governments rose and fell, and ideologies clashed like titans, consuming millions in their wake. The earth trembled not from natural disasters, but from the rage of humans tearing each other apart. Then came the hour that rewrote existence. It was exactly noon, 12 p.m., a blinding flash, a colossal boom, as if the sky itself cracked in half. A meteor, larger than any ever recorded, struck the Earth with a force beyond comprehension. It did not just collide, it shattered. Entire continents split apart. Oceans boiled. Mountain ranges crumbled like sandcastles. The skies turned black with ash. Firestorms circled the globe, and tsunamis wiped coastlines from existence. Civilization ended. The meteor's impact set off earthquakes that lasted for weeks. The crust of the earth shifted, creating new landforms and swallowing cities whole. Satellites fell from the sky like shooting stars, and silence followed. A silence so absolute it felt unnatural. Humanity's age of steel and electricity was over. The world plunged into darkness. Electricity failed. Machines stopped working. Skyscrapers became tombstones. The internet, the collective mind of modern mankind, vanished. Humanity was cast back into the Stone Age. Those who survived did so by accident or fate. They emerged from the ruins barefoot, bloody, and afraid. Cities became legends. The surviving humans gathered in small tribes, each living in fear of the other. They used rocks for tools, hunted animals with sticks, and told stories by firelight of gods who once ruled the sky. These gods were the humans of the past. Scientists, presidents, engineers, now reduced to myth. But something remarkable happened. In this broken, scarred earth, humanity began to remember. The survivors found fragments, books buried in rubble, rusted data drives, shattered solar panels. They learned, slowly. They formed new communities, they farmed, they wrote, they studied the stars again, without the weight of corrupt governments and endless wars. Peace emerged, not by decree, but by necessity. Everyone had lost someone. Pain was universal. The only path forward was together. Within 100 years, the first electric light was reborn in the ruins of what was once Berlin. In what remained of the American Midwest, windmills spun again. A new United Earth Council was formed. Not a government, but a brotherhood of tribes and communities across continents who shared knowledge and swore never to repeat the mistakes of the past. They rebuilt. Not like before, but better. Cities were now powered by clean energy, cars were rare, replaced by bikes, electric carts, and long-distance gliders. There were no borders, only regions. Languages blended, cultures merged. The new generation did not know what it meant to go to war. They only knew how to survive together. And for a time, Earth healed. Forests regrew, rivers cleared, animals returned to places they once fled. Humanity once again looked to the stars, but this time with wisdom instead of ambition. But peace, like glass, is fragile. The seeds of greed never truly die. They only sleep. As technology returned, so did power. And where there is power, there is temptation. A man named Malek rose in the Eastern Territories, charismatic, intelligent, a genius in both science and speech. He spoke of the Great Return, a movement to restore the glory of the old world. People followed him. At first, he built machines to help. Farms became automated. Drones carried supplies between cities. People loved him, but he wanted more. He began training armies, not for defense, but for dominance. He unearthed the weapons of the old world, cleaned them, upgraded them. He taught his people about nuclear power, not to harness it, but to control others with it. The council objected. Debates turned to accusations. Accusations turned into fear. Fear turned into missiles. War began anew, but this time it was faster, deadlier. No longer were people throwing spears or shooting bullets. They had lasers, drones, bioweapons. What took thousands of years to build took only 10 days to destroy again. Cities vaporized, fields burned, satellites exploded, the world went dark a second time. And then came silence. From the ashes of the second fall, a child was born. Her name was Elia. She lived in a valley untouched by fire, raised by elders who remembered the past. She grew up hearing stories of both peace and war. She asked questions no one could answer. Why do humans destroy what they love? Why does knowledge lead to death? Why do we always rebuild only to ruin everything again? Elia was not like others. She listened to the wind. She walked barefoot across ruins and spoke to machines as if they were alive. One day, she found a crystal embedded in the heart of a fallen satellite. It glowed blue, soft, warm, alive. It spoke, not in words but visions. She saw the earth as it once was, from the beginning of time to its many ends. She saw the first fire, the first war, the first city, and the first lie. She saw every decision that led to destruction, and then she saw a choice. Under Sahume, the crystal offered her, skulle ask her a gift. The ability to reset. To take humanity back to its beginning. Before greed, before war, before ego. But Elia refused. No, she whispered. We don't need another beginning. We need to remember the endings. So she kept the crystal. Not as a tool, but as a reminder. She traveled the earth planting seeds not in soil, but in minds, teaching the children of war how to dream of peace, teaching those broken by history how to write a new one. She became a legend. Some say Elia still walks the earth, unseen but felt, whenever two enemies choose to shake hands, whenever a scientist chooses healing over profit, whenever a leader steps down instead of taking more power. She is the whisper behind every choice for peace. And perhaps that is the only way the cycle will ever break. Not by force, not by reset, but by memory. Because as long as humanity remembers what it costs to burn the world, it might just choose to save it next time. And so, the story of Aaliyah is more than legend. It's a reminder that peace begins not with power, but with memory. If this story touched you, share it, keep it alive, and let others remember too. Your support helps me create more stories like this. So, if you'd like to stand with me, you can support my journey on Ko-fi. Until the next tale, choose peace.